Welcome back to Action Figure Obsession here on the Avian and Loaded channel. It's me, your old pal, Avian and Loaded, and I'm still thinking about the work table, still working on the work table. Cleared a little extra space here in the sort of photo booth unboxing area. Um, Eliminated a couple of rows here. I'm going to try real hard not to knock anybody over today. Wish me luck, cross your fingers. Um, so what I was thinking was, because I feel like I'm getting into range of actually, if not clearing the work table off, at least getting it into a better sort of order here. Right now, it's been pretty sheer chaos. Um, as you may know, and forgive me if this is old information to you, but the work table here in my toy room, I use to sort of spitball kit bash ideas. Spitball and kit bash. That's what I should have called the show. Spitball and kit bash ideas, and also just keeping some figures that I really love. Most of whom are actually doubles of ones that are in my more formal displays. But there are some that I like so much that I like to just have them here on the work table to just fiddle around with them. Kazar is a great example of that. Peter Parker is obviously in my Spider-Man display, but I have quite a few of those. That 2020 Spider-Man Retro Wave, I wish I had actually gone more all in than I did. I think at one point I had 13 of the 2020 Retro Spider-Mans, the superposable ones. And then I've got, I think, five or six of the retro Peter Parkers that were in the same wave with different, like for example, this one right here in the center of the screen, looking kind of right at you, judging you perhaps. That one, well, first of all, this one right here in the center of the screen, and also this one. Although this one actually has those, I kept the lobster claws on them, as Anthony's Customs called them, the god awful hands this figure came with. Most of my Peter Parkers, I have swapped out better hands for them because, you know, the way that figure came, basically the hands were good only for holding the camera, and it's criminal that that's the only hands they gave us. But the one there in the center, that is basically the stock look of the Peter Parker figure with the Ditko style whiteout face glasses that reminded a lot of people of the one of the bad guys in Sin City. And I'm okay with that. I get what they were going for with this design. I don't. I actually like it because I like Steve Ditko's artwork, and I think Steve Ditko is really the only Spider-Man creator that matters, honestly, to me. If I could only have one run of Spider-Man comics, it would be the Steve Ditko Amazing Spider-Man run, issues number 138, number 1 through 138, plus Amazing Fantasy 15, where the character debuted. And then the Amazing Spider-Man annuals 1 and 2. That basically gives you probably 99.5% of all the Spider-Man work Steve Ditko ever did. That this head, as you can see, I do like it. there's three of them in this shot. Can you see it? That says Ditko Spider-Man to me. However, this head, this is the one that came with the, I want to say 2016, maybe it was 2017, the all new, all different Spider-Man 2-pack that came with Spider-Man with that Alex Ross designed costume with the glowing eyes and glowing spider. That was on the Pizza Spider-Man body. And it came with Mary Jane, who was on basically the Jessica Jones body. I think Jessica Jones and Mary Jane actually came out around the same time. The difference is Jessica Jones has the molded jacket pieces on her arms because she's wearing her cool leather jacket, whereas Mary Jane is just wearing a tank top, and obviously Jessica Jones has a Jessica Jones head, and Mary Jane has a Mary Jane head. But one of the best things about that 2-pack, that Spider-Man and Mary Jane, all new, all different Spider-Man 2-pack, was that you got this Peter Parker head. And sidebar, probably my single greatest regret in all of collecting Marvel Legends is having the retro Scarlet Spider that came out, I think, 2018. The one with the shiny metallic red paint that also came with, unlike the original Scarlet Spider in the Rhino Wave, came with the blonde Ben Riley head, which is just a repaint of this head. And this is just about the ideal um, classic Peter Parker head. It works for a Romita Jr. or Romita Sr. display. Gil Kane, Ross Andrew, Keith Pollard, um, you name it. This is just it's a great head. It's a great Peter Parker head. It was great in 2017, and it's great now. Uh, that being said, it predates the digital face printing. So this is when somebody at the factory was still hand painting the facial details. And as such, and they did a good job on this, so far as I can see. This is the only copy of this version of this head that I have. It's the only one. I think I only ever bought one of those 2 packs. However, that same head sculpt was reused for the Renew Your Vows 2 pack. So the 2 classic Peter Parker heads that we got both came from Spider-Mans that came in a 2 pack with Mary Jane. I don't know why it's wants to focus on the other one and not this one. There we go. So this is a remake of the one on the right. And as you can see, the one on the right is a little glossier, a little shinier. It's a little more mid-period Hasbro Marvel Legends. Whereas this one, exact same sculpt, identical sculpt. But the digital face printing really dials in a little bit more. I guess he's a little shiny too. Dials in a little bit more of the detail. It's a little sharper. It's a little clearer. Whereas this one is a little more cartoony, which I guess is somewhat suitable considering it debuted in a retro card wave that paid homage, at least in the packaging, to Spider-Man the Animated Series. I mean, this Peter Parker head sculpt looks nothing like Peter Parker looked on the show. They did that in the VHS 2 pack that I think came with the Vulture and Peter Parker. Apparently that goes for a lot of money now. But this is my Peter Parker. This is my comics Peter Parker. This is the Peter Parker of the mid-70s Clone Saga. Peter Parker when Bart Hamilton became the third Green Goblin. If you don't remember that, there's all kinds of. I've had a long history with Spider-Man. I got my first Spider-Man comic when I was 6 years old in 1972. And there have been times when I run hot and cold on Spider-Man, but at the end of the day, as far as superheroes go, there's Spider-Man and there's Captain America, and then there's everybody else. Those are my guys, Brooklyn and Queens, I guess, as we learned in Civil War. Focus. People say focus like the camera's listening. I don't think the camera's listening. There we go. But anyway, as far as Peter Parker goes, whoa. It was not a mass casualty event. It was only 2 people, but of course one of them was Gwen Stacy. It's always her fate, right? Where was this one? Let's put him here. Okay. So these, there's other Peter Parker heads. There's the bearded one that came with the Cosmic Spider-Man / Captain Universe figure. I have that one in my display as Captain Universe. I actually have the bearded Peter Parker head on a Peter Parker body, one of these bodies here, the retro body, and he is on my Spider-Man shelf right now. And this head has been used in other places as well. It was in the Spider-Man Kraven's Last Hunt 2-pack, all battle damaged and bruised up. To me, any of these 3 are much better than that one that came with that Maximum Spider-Man. I think Maximum Spider-Man is a figure I would like to own, but I would gladly let them keep the Peter Parker head if it meant that I could get $10 off, because that Peter Parker head that came with that figure to me is absolutely useless. So anyway, that's the what I'm thinking about here is what are the categories of the stuff that's on the work table so I can figure out how to get them off the work table. And the first category that came immediately to mind, we do not want to focus today for some reason. The first category that came immediately to mind is kitbashes, because there are kitbashes in various stages of being finished on the work table. And I plucked out the ones that I like the best. And I thought we could go over those for a few minutes. What do you think? So I don't have and have never had, despite the fact that I've been kit bashing Marvel Legends for about a decade now, I don't really have a display area of just my kit bashes. And I want to note up front that I am an intermediate customizer at best. I can touch up some paint here and there if I have an acrylic paint pen that'll match the color. I have done that a few times, but mostly for me, it's about the kit bashing. It's about what parts can I take from here and from there to make something that I don't have in my collection, to make something that Hasbro hasn't made or hasn't made as well as I would like. So this work table, its primary purpose is really to look at what I have, pluck things out of the displays, maybe things that I'm bored with or have extras of, and see what I can do with them to achieve something else. So there are varying levels of finish here as far as are they done, are they ready, am I going to do anything else to them? Like this one I just did yesterday. This is the Sebastian Stan Bucky Barnes head, I believe, from the flashback Winter Soldier. It is a fantastic head sculpt, absolutely stunning resemblance to Sebastian Stan as he appeared as Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. If there's anything wrong with that head, you tell me, and more importantly, you tell him. See what he has to say about it, huh? Yeah, I'm looking right at you, buddy. All right, so as I say, I just did this yesterday, this Bucky Barnes kit bash. It is a absolutely bare bones kit bash. It's a head swap. The body is the Everett Ross, MCU Everett Ross from Wakanda Forever, which is built on the terrible old Agent Coulson chameleon suited body. The thing about that body is it's very unstable. The feet are terrible. They're super thin, as you can see, really, really, really thin feet. And, normally you'd say, well, you can just put it on a or not a flight stand, but a stand. But you can't, because the peg holes on the bottom of this feet of the Coulson body, the Everett Ross body, the chameleon body, those peg holes are so shallow that there is no stand that is going to do anything. They just fall off those stands. But I have spent a lot of time with my heat gun and with manipulating these awful feet up and down and back and forth. And I've gotten to the point where, again, I think I'm intermediate at actually getting them to stand on their own. Here he is. No visible means of support. But the problem with them is that eventually the feet will sort of, this is what plastic does when you heat it up and you change it in any way. Eventually, it tends to return to what it had going on at the factory, what it was designed to be, what it was molded to be. So Bucky is standing here, but if I was to hold this camera here for a month and take a month worth of video of him just standing here, at some point you'd notice that he's fallen over, because those feet are probably going to fail at some point. But for now, he looks good. He's standing there. He's holding, because I figured, and it's not meant to be anything in particular. I guess just a comic Bucky Barnes in his off hours, maybe with a fake, prosthetic hand to look human. Or to look human, to look like he is an intact human, I guess is what I mean to say, who hasn't been given a bionic arm. But he's got one of those sci-fi pistols that Hasbro's been giving us for the last 6 or 7 years. I'm trying to think who came with that pistol. Some Deadpools, I think, have come with that pistol when they don't want to give you a realistic looking one. It's not the worst. It's not as science fictiony as the Egghead one, but I was just wanted to give him a weapon. Give him something to do. What's Bucky Barnes without a weapon? But as far as is this a kit bash that's going to stick? Well, there's no reason for it not to, because I have like 6 or 7 of these Everett Ross bodies. I bought a bunch of them when they were $10 at Ollie's, and then I bought even a bunch more when they went down to $5 at Ollie's, because the Wakanda War Forever Wave at one point went down to $5 each. And that was the point. At $5, I go nuts on a Marvel Legend if there's any kit bash potential for it at all. So that's why we have this one. How many others we got over here? We got a couple over here. Matt Murdock and a movie Steve Rogers had, the blue suits there. And are there any others on the work table at the moment? I think. Oh, no, not that guy. No, I guess that's it for the moment. But I guess the rest of them are all on the displays. I do have some as civilian attired sort of shield agents in my shield display, that sort of thing. But it's not a bad body. It's relatively speaking, compared to a comic book Marvel Legend, it's relatively short. Let's see who we got here. An average size Marvel Legend to compare back to back. The Agent Ross. There, you see the height difference, because this one, the Everett Ross body, the Agent Coulson body, the Chameleon body, that is originally an MCU based sculpt, because it was Agent Coulson first, and MCU figures are 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, I think, on average, smaller than your more heroic scale Marvel Legends, which seem to average about 6.5 inches. These guys usually average maybe 6, a little over 6. The suited bodies, the cinematic universe suited bodies, because that is where they got their origin, even though they have been used for a few comic characters from time to time. Where was I? Oh yeah, so talking about the categories of, let's put Cap back over here. One of my 20 years caps over here. Thinking about organizing these caps too, because I think he deserves better than what he's currently getting from me. But yeah, I'm going to leave him like this for now. There's nothing else I think that I would do with it. Maybe give him a robot hand. I do actually have one left over from a Thor Ragnarok, and I could probably find something else as well. But for now, I'm going to start a new row here. See, we have this in rows. And then this is the last row, starting with Peter Parker. Actually, I guess we could put him, since he's standing up okay, I guess we can finish off this row. Well, he's not standing up too well, but he's a little propped up against Peter now. But that's fine, as long as it doesn't, trip his Peter tingle. So I guess what I'm trying to do here is figure out, can any of these kit bashes go back into a display, or go into a display and get off the table? And I think the primary candidate for that is probably a character I call the Iron King. This is made from the MCU Kingpin from the Hawkeye TV series, with a head from the MCU What If Hydra Stomper, which was designed by Howard Stark back in World War II. So that's probably why it bears somewhat of a resemblance to Howard Stark's later offspring. And then because I see him as the iron-fisted dictator of a small Eastern European nation, he also has the little beret to remind everybody in his country of who is in charge. You don't start worrying about your authoritarian dictators until they go on TV wearing a beret, right? Right? That's how they get you. That's how they get you. But anyway, I really like the look of the Iron King. To me, he looks like something Wally Wood might have designed in the late 60s for Thunder Agents, which was a beautiful comic book that Wallace Wood drew. Um, and the hands, where did the hands come from? Where did the hands come from? I can't remember. They might have been from a Doctor Doom figure, although I don't think so. I'm thinking maybe the Secret Wars Doom, because I do have a couple of those. I don't know. I forget. But anyway, he's the Iron King, and he is not a nice guy. But the thing about this one, and he's got a little from GI Joe Classified. I put this just strap of pouches on his leg because he wants to look military. He wants to look like he's in charge. He wants everybody to think that he's the top dog, and he's trying to get on the world stage and take over the world and eliminate democracy. And that's his deal. And but I do think this Kit Bash is finished. I did it originally for my GI Joe Classified series displays. I'm going to put him in the back here of a new row because I think just for my purposes, this row is going to be the Kit Bashes that I think are complete and are ready to go into a display and don't necessarily need to be on this table anymore. And that brings us to my Vincent D'Onofrio, Wilson Fisk Kingpin, MCU Kingpin, Daredevil Born Again Kingpin. This is on the Hammerhead body, the retro Hammerhead from the Spider-Man Marvel Legends line. The regular Kingpin, I felt looked too scrawny, too short. Yes, Vincent D'Onofrio has lost a great deal of weight, and the Kingpin, they use digital technology to make him look bigger on the show. But I think that, let's see, where is Matt Murdock? So here's the two of them together. I think the Kingpin is bigger than Matt Murdock, as he should be, taller than Matt Murdock. But I think that works. I wish I had a Matt Murdock with a good head sculpt that looked like Charlie Cox instead of drunken, hungover John Oliver. But I think, and I did use the hands as well because the skin tone is very, very pale on the MCU Kingpin. So I wanted the hands to match. So these are the hands from the MCU Kingpin. Probably came off of that body back there. And I think this one, I don't think there's anything else that I would do with it. I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to put him in the row that we'll tentatively call completed Kit Bashes, and maybe even try to get it into focus there. Who else is complete? Okay, this guy is complete. Have you ever read the Parker novels by Richard Stark, which was a pen name for the author Donald Westlake? Really, really very bleak crime novels. I call them heist procedurals because it's usually all about a heist that the criminal Parker tries to pull with some of his friends in the underworld. And although Parker is not described as being blonde, I feel like this head sculpt on this body kind of conveys the wolf-like confidence that Westlake described in the Parker novels. And I think that this is an outfit that Parker would have worn while pulling a heist. He's always talked about in the books as having large hands. So I gave this guy hands that are a little bigger than usual. I also think this expression on this Johnny Storm Retro Fantastic forehead is vaguely Ditko-esque, and that the large fists kind of give this figure just sort of a Steve Ditko feel. If you are a Steve Ditko fan, take a good look at it. Does that look like that could be a character in a Steve Ditko comic? I feel like it does. I really feel like it does. I don't see Johnny Storm when I look at this head at all, which is why I don't use it for Johnny Storm in my displays. I have used other heads. I've used a Chris Pratt head, a Star-Lord head, as an older, maybe a bit tired Johnny Storm. I've used the Steve Rogers head. This one here from the Commander Rogers figure. I feel like that looks more like Johnny Storm than it does Steve Rogers, although the truth is it really looks like Jesse Plemons. Am I right? The actor Jesse Plemons. You know, he's put on maybe 15 pounds for a job, an acting job. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I think this one, I don't know what else I would do with him. I really like how he looks. I like how he turned out. In fact, ever since I put those fists and that hand on that body, which is the Inner Demon's body from the Mr. Negative 2-pack, I've been very happy with that. And so I think that one's done. I think this one is done too, just because I already have. This is the body of the Rose from the Spider-Man retro line. Obviously, the Rose. Uh, but I have the Rose in my display. And at the time, I did not have a Mr. Knight, and I thought, well, that would make kind of a cool sort of quasi Mr. Knight kit bash. He has an Arctic pistol there from, I think, is that a Glock or a Sig Sauer from Action Force, from Valaverse Action Force. So this is, and I love those shoes on the Rose, aren't they? They're just the best. This too has the scrawny Coulson Chameleon Agent Ross legs, but it has a new jacket that people did not like this double-breasted coat, and of course, obviously, it locks it in and prevents much articulation. But I think just standing there, being Mr. Knight, I don't know, is it terrible? You tell me. I mean, this Mr. Knight is obviously the MCU. The one on the left here is the official MCU Mr. Knight from the TV show. I think the head is too small. Other than that, I do dig it. But I wish they found a way to make the coats less restrictive. Probably without making them soft goods, because Hasbro and soft goods is always a mixed bag. Very rarely do they really work out. But I think this Moon Knight, or Mr. Knight, I think he goes in the finished Kit Bash row, because I don't really think there's anything else that I can or would do to that that would make me any happier. And here we have what started out as the Beyonder body. The Beyonder is a very weird pinky pink color. And luckily, the Elvis-like head sculpt that came as an alternate head. Was it the alternate head, or was the other one the alternate head? With the World War II Logan, the comic book Wolverine. I think a tribute really to Earth's Mightiest Heroes and other cartoons that have shown Wolverine in World War II. I don't know what this head is really supposed to be, other than, I guess, a young Logan. But it also reminds me of kind of a mid-period Elvis, which is why I popped him on this Beyonder body, and I got to give him a microphone and maybe some kind of bling around his neck. But he's been my Elvis since the day that I did that Kit Bash. I do still have another Beyonder. Where is he? You'd think it'd be easy to find a guy in a white onesie. Where is he? Oh, there he is. There he is. There's the other Beyonder right there. Yeah, I hate that head sculpt so much, and I really don't have any nostalgia for Secret Wars or the Beyonder. So, yeah, Elvis. Another one I think is done is my Samurai Agent Venom. I really don't have any headcanon for this. I had the piece left over, the sort of skirt piece belt around his waist with the scabbards. I had that left over from a Storm Shadow from G.I. Joe Classified that I wanted to turn into a more retro looking one. And so, that is where my Samurai Agent Venom came from, and I'm happy with him, and he is done. Here is Star Dash Man. That's how it's spelled, Star Dash Man. And he is just a simple kit bash from the Captain from the Elvis MODOK 2-pack. Love the Captain. I bought 3 of them. It's always shocked me that set went on clearance at Ollie's for $30. It was originally, I think, like a $120 box set, an SDCC exclusive at one point. And I haven't seen it at an Ollie's in a while, but I did buy 3 when they were $30 each at the time, mainly because this whole body is the Netflix Punisher, except for the feet. They put some new sneaks on him, but I thought it was really cool that you could get, the three Netflix Punisher bodies, and I always meant to turn one into a Punisher, and I guess I could, just paint the shirt black and maybe paint a skull on it. Uh, I might still do that someday if I get better at painting, but for now, um, he's just my Star Dash Man, Kit Bash, and I really like him. I feel like he's sort of my informal mascot of the work table. So he may not leave the work table, but he definitely is in the category of this Kit Bash is finished. Oh, by the way, his staff actually came from a Playmates Star Trek, the 2009 movie. One of the characters in the movie, I think it was the villain, had this staff, and I always liked it much better than the figure because those figures kind of sucked. Um, but I feel like they fit this character, and you may notice too that the head again is just that Steve Rogers, Commander Rogers head. But the goggles cover a multitude of sins and almost make the hair work. I feel because that hair on that figure is just so terrible. Speaking of which, here's the good Steve Rogers head that Paul Harding sculpted. He sculpted both of them. I don't know what the remit was, what he was told to do with that Commander Rogers head, but this is the one that nails it for me. This is my comic book Steve Rogers through and through. Reminds me of George Perez's Steve Rogers from this classic Avengers run in the late 70s, early 80s. And so this is the Commander Rogers body kit bashed with the Paul Harding 20 years Captain America unmasked head, and then a prototype shield, unfinished Captain America shield, which was originally the shield that comes with Stan Lee. I just repainted it, and I have two of them. One of them is just plain silver, but this is the one I think. Well, maybe it's the other one. The other one has a little some bronze stuff on it too to kind of show you the layers as they're working on the prototype. I think this is the more pure silver one. I did leave a little bit of the original silver. That's I think it's the figure that was on, or that was actually on the shield. Was that shield red, white, or red, silver, and blue? I can't remember, but like you see that little spot right there in the middle. I think that's from the original shield, and then I just sort of left it, or maybe I just didn't do as many coats there because again, I wanted to give you the impression that it's unfinished. And that he's using a prototype shield. This is definitely finished. I love this one so much that I actually have two of them. The other one is in my shield display, and he actually has the Stealth Captain America MCU shield, the blue and silver one. Absolutely love that shield, and so I have two of these Commander Rogers bodies with the 20 years Captain America Steve Rogers head. And this one will probably stay on the work table because, as I say, the other one is already in the shield display. The only difference between the two is that this one has the hand-painted prototype shield that I did, whereas the one that's in the shield display has the actual shield that came packed in with the Winter Soldier Stealth Captain America, the blue, sort of tealish blue and silver shield that came with that Captain America. This guy is finished, but he'll probably stay on the work table because, as I say, it's redundant. It's already in my shield display. But I do love the look of this figure. Absolutely love the look of this figure. This one I just did the other day. I think I showed it to you already in a video. This is my custom Sandman. He is not finished, technically speaking, because I would like to have some sort of hose going from the back of the gun into, just into his jacket somewhere, because that is his sleepy gas gun. This is the Talos, MCU Talos from Secret Invasion, the one that you could swap the head and hands to make him look like a Skrull, but I swapped on a G.I. Joe Classified Series Big Ben gas mask. And this one is definitely done. I'm delighted. This is, I think, my most recent kit bash, and I'm absolutely delighted with how it turned out. Then we have the Mandarin. The body is the Baron Mordo or Master Mordo. I forget which he was called, but the one I think from the second Doctor Strange movie. And the head and hands come from the Mandarin that came in the Iron Man Extremis 2-pack. And I have painted the neck to get rid of the original flesh tone, but, I have to fess up that I am not quite steady enough or nimble enough and don't have the tools to have completely covered up the original flesh tone. So, from a distance you can't see it. You tell me. Does this work as the Mandarin, the sort of classic comic Mandarin? I also have where's the Mandarin Mandarin? I have the one that came in the 2-pack here somewhere. I know I do. Oh, where did he go? Where did he go? Where did he go? There's so much stuff on this table, my friends. So much stuff. He is here, right? I didn't move him off the table. I don't remember moving him off the table. And he's got his arms spread out because he's using his powers. Oh, there he is. There he is. Okay, so yeah, so that's the Mandarin. You see with his little power effect there, and he's got the 10 rings. This Mandarin doesn't have the 10 rings on his fingers because at the time that he was in this look, the rings had actually melded themselves to his spine. So they're under here somewhere. But, you know, sometimes when a character like the Mandarin comes with extra heads and hands to make different versions, sometimes you can get 2 figures out of it. And I've had that Mordo figure on this workbench for literally years. Really, I love the Chiwetel Ejiofor head sculpt on it, but I love my comic display more, and I think this is good for a comic Mandarin. So as soon as I finish the paint job on his neck, as far as I'm concerned, this one is not only done, but pretty close to perfect. Pretty close to perfect. Then finally, to wrap this video up, these guys are probably going to stay on the workbench for a number of reasons. One of which is that I have 3 or 4 more of these blue Deadpools on my X-Men shelf. One of them riding Squirrel Girl's Vespa scooter. I have 2 more of these Rhino Wave Scarlet Spiders, which is my favorite Scarlet Spider. I like it much better than the more recent one. The one that came on the retro card with on the Renew Your Vows body. It's a nice figure, but I like this red better. I like this silhouette better for the Scarlet Spider. I like everything about it. And these guys are buddies. They are they're basically, I've talked a lot in the past about how I like off-model versions of characters. That's why, Ben Reilly is probably more my favorite Spider-Man than Peter Parker in many ways. Although the U.S. Agent is not my favorite Captain America, but I guess the difference there is Ben Reilly is still a good guy, whereas the U.S. Agent is, at best, a bit of a prick, and at worst, a fascist authoritarian. So, I guess U.S. Agent would be the exception. But off-model versions of my favorite characters I really enjoy. It's something that really tickles my fancy. And this Earth 669 confirmed bachelor's Scarlet Spider in his Indiana Jones fedora, and just to show his solidarity with his best buddy Deadpool, he has a Deadpool belt around his waist. And then they stole Peter Parker's dog, Ms. Lion, from the clubhouse that Spider-Man shares with Iceman and Firestar. And then the blue Deadpool has a little is that a Mac 10? I think it is. I think it's a Mac 10 from I think it actually came from Big Ben, just like the gas mask on my Sandman. But he's got the Mac 10. I think that is, and most importantly, the thing that makes this Deadpool fun for me, being the Deadpool of Earth 669. Is his possession of the Infinity Gauntlet. Because if there's anything more terrifying than the idea of Deadpool wielding the Infinity Gauntlet, it's the off-model blue Deadpool with a grudge against the world for the fact that he's not, quote-unquote, the real Deadpool. That is terrifying. And so he has the Infinity Gauntlet. They've got Peter Parker's little dog. Scarlet Spider has Deadpool's spare belt and Indiana Jones's fedora, and I think these guys, more than anything else, these are, as I say, the mascots of this work table. They are the mascots of my kit bashing interest and my lifelong love of action figures. Oftentimes somebody will say, did this make you happy? Did that make you happy? Are you happy? Most of the time, I suffer from anhedonia. I actually did a song about anhedonia. Look it up on my channel, because it's kind of a whimsical Eleanor Rigby sort of take on explaining the psychological malady of anhedonia. Anhedonia is one word in the medical lexicon, Anhedonia. However, if you look up my song, which you'll enjoy if you search my archives for it, it's a woman named Anne Hedonia. So it's ANNE space HEDONIA, and she's from Lake Hortonia in Vermont, which is actually one of my favorite places in the world. But anyway, if you listen to Anhedonia, my song Anhedonia, it's one of the ones that I'm the proudest of. It's a fun song. It's a funny song. It's a sad song, and it even has kind of a tragic ending that really pulls it all together well. But I do suffer from a little bit of anhedonia, the inability to enjoy things that most people find fun or enjoyable. I'm not always sure what people mean when they say something was fun or that they're feeling happy. But I got to tell you, when I look at my Earth 669 confirmed bachelors, Deadpool and Scarlet Spider, the off-model, wrong costume guys, with their little dog too, Ms. Lion, it makes me happy. It makes me happy. It makes me feel like kit bashing is a good thing, a positive thing, playing with your toys and creating new worlds in your imagination and having some fun with it. And, you know, obviously, if these were the only samples I had of these two figures, they would just be sitting on the shelf being Scarlet Spider and Blue Deadpool. X-Men, you know, Deadpool, as he's also known. But because I have multiples of these, I think at one time or another I've probably owned 6 or 7 of each of them, and I think right now I have at least 3 of each, and I think I might have 4 of the Blue Deadpool. But having that many, you know, getting them on clearance or getting a good deal on them or getting them in a trade, having that many gives you the opportunity to experiment with kit bashing and to even keep it the way you like it when you get it how you want it. You can keep it the way you like it when you get it how you want it. See? And that's really what these guys, especially, I think, are all about. These are the ones that I'm going to keep the way they are because they're the way I want them. And so, some of them will probably graduate to my formal action figure displays, and some of them will probably stay here on the work table just because, you know, there's not endless space in my displays. And only one of them really is unfinished, and that is the Mandarin, just because I got a little bit of work left to do on the paint job on his neck. If you have any recommendations, if you too have shaky fingers but have somehow figured out how to paint into a tiny little crevice like that successfully, I would like to finish that up and change that to just, you know, sort of black shirt that he's wearing that goes all the way up his neck instead of having the leftover skin tone. And my apologies to Chiwetel Ejiofor. I do enjoy a great deal of his work, especially what he did on Firefly and in Back Rooms. But Comic Book Mandarin is going to trump any MCU character, and Baron Mordo, they never really did much with him anyway, unfortunately. It's too bad that they had an actor the caliber of Chiwetel Ejiofor and never really made him, you know, the kind of villain to remember like they did with, say, Thanos in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that is a very extensive and now concluded look at the completed or mostly completed kit bashes on my work table, the ones that I'm the happiest with, the ones that bring me joy, and the ones that make me go, hey, you can really actually make a new figure just by swapping some parts around and maybe painting a thing here or a thing there. It's a lot of fun. You should try it if you haven't, and if you have the time and the interest. Any questions about kit bashing? Feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'd be more than happy to tell you anything I've learned. Like I say, I'm not an expert. I am intermediate at best, but I do enjoy doing it a great deal. Thanks for joining me for this extra long action figure obsession here on the Avian and Loaded channel. Feel free to leave any comments you might have down below. I'd appreciate it if you'd give the video a thumbs up. It really does help to get my videos out in front of other people who might be interested in them. And subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed this little rumination on what's going on as my work table is a a work in progress as I really try to work toward the goal of getting these guys all into displays and off the workbench. Ideally, maybe I'd have 30 or 40 figures on this table and not over 100. And I'm trying to make that happen. You have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below. And if you do subscribe to the channel, by the way, make sure you hit the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you anytime I upload something new here on the Avian and Loaded channel. And I think that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate you spending almost, well, actually, it is over 3/4 of an hour. We're over 45 minutes now. Thank you for spending that time with me today. I do value your time. I value my time, but I also value yours, and I hate to waste it, and I hope that you found this fun. I will see you again on the next Action Figure Obsession.